Right then folk, welcome back to another video beer review. Today we've got a beer coming out of Fat Lizard, and it is their Splitty Westy, a West Coast double IPA coming in at 8% ABV. Big thanks to Mr. Jimmy C for this one. Yeah, he gave me a load of cans when obviously went over to Estonia a couple of weeks back now, and he very kindly, I mean we did a bit of a beer swap, but he definitely got more than what I ended up giving him. I'll definitely, when I next come out, I think I'll try and do Tallinn maybe again next year, but then do Tartu and a couple of other places I've spoken about in the past, and then I'll get a ferry over to Helsinki for like a day or two or something like that, and repeat the the swap, I suppose. But I'll definitely bring some more stuff out, because I was a bit concerned with like my weight of my baggage going out, because I only had 20 kg. And as soon as I put it on the scales, I was like, fuck's sake, it was like 15, 16 kg, so I didn't have anything to worry about. Also, I didn't need half the stuff that I had in the bag, because I was kind of preparing for the worst with the weather, and it was mild. You know, it was fucking 2 degrees, 3 degrees most days, but I'd packed with a big woolly coat and everything. I didn't need it. I will still take it, but yeah, I'll probably get some scales or something, take it to the scales at work before I pack my bag next time. But anyway, he was very kind to give me as many beers as he did, and he also explained all the beers, and I managed to forget most of it. Obviously, I did do the unboxing. If you want to see any more information on the beers, check out the unboxing. But because he did comment on that was a couple of videos ago, a live video. So if you look at probably the longer videos, it was on there. Or if you check one of the most recent lives, in fact, it will be on there as well. So yeah, Fat Lizard, a Splitty Westy, a West Coast double IPA. I do remember him talking a little bit about this as well. So Espoo Original, Hippie Ki, Ice Cold IPA, and the VW Split Screen Westphalia Camper, Part by the Water. So that's one of those old school campers. I think that's what this can is covered in. In fact, it does have it there on the old VW campers with the pop top. So yeah, Matuika hop gives this beer a fresh citrusy nose with a herbal backbone to balance out the caramelly malt body. So maybe it's going to be a little bit darker, maybe it's going to be, it sounds like from there it's going to be like a proper West Coast IPA, like an old school one, rather than a newer one. Hops, it's literally just as Matuika, so 8% ABV, good old session strength double IPA this one. Anything else? That's all in finish. Yeah, Espoo Original, yes we can. I can't remember, Bob Builder, wasn't it? Yes we can. Can we fix it? Yes we can. I want to say it sounds a bit like an American thing that would, yes we can. It sounds like a pre-MAGA thing, doesn't it? Best IPA of Finland 2023, and nice green ring pull on the can. Canned on 13th of Jan 2025, best before, or enjoy by in fact, which I always like to see, because that reminds me of the Enjoy By series. I think was it Stone did all those years back, 1309-25. So the guile or the batch number seems to be 1135, or it might have been the can time or something, but I reckon that is probably batch number 1135. So yeah, West Coast dipper. Oh man, I haven't had one. I haven't had a proper Westy for a bit of time. I'm going to use the Union glass again. I was talking to my dad at the weekend saying, can I have my old Union glass? This is the Oktoberfest, I think, glass of 2018, and I do have like a standard Union glass that's even older. And I was like, that's what you want, is I don't care about new modern glassware, I just want glassware to sit around in my cupboard for many years and admire it, because it is slowly getting older and older. So yeah, Oktoberfest 2018. This is a newer one. I think in fact my original one's probably gone, but I do have another one in this sort of shape, and I love this glass as well. It's you don't see this glass design around anymore, but it's a nice design. You don't see Union beers around anymore either. I think one of my mates has seen, he's got some at the minute. He's got some like Sunday or the IPA or whatever it is. But yeah, looks like a nice colour on it. A nice kind of, looks like maybe a bit of caramel inside of that. Maybe a touch of crystal. Probably no rye, but we'll be able to smell if there is any rye on the nose. Don't think there's any rye on that. I reckon just Cara, maybe a bit crystal, like I say. Being finished, I'd probably bank on more Cara, probably no crystal. But yeah, it smells sweet. And then you've got little hints of bubblegummy sort of notes. This is the sort of like the Westies I always associate with having tons and tons of like Simcoe. You know, Simcoe, Cascade, Cluster, bit of Chinook. Cluster, you don't see that hop around anymore. I must buy some for use in a beer in coming years. But yeah, it smells like a proper Westy, like an old school Westy, like relatively malty. You know, there is that sweet Cara, little bit of a honey, bit of a biscuitiness. It smells good. We'll dive in. Cheers, Jimmy. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. There is. Yeah, you don't see Mosaic single hop beers, so I wonder what they've used for bittering on this. I wouldn't ever really want to use Mosaic for bittering, but maybe they have. Or maybe they're just hiding their bittering hops. This delivers, certainly does. And I always love, I used it actually in the beer this year. I've used Mosaic in like a slightly copper ale sort of colour, copper ale sort of beer, and it works really well with the malts. And I was, quite heavily, a lot of crystal malt in the one I did. So it was actually a little bit darker than this. It was much lower ABV. It was like 3.6. But Mosaic really works quite well with maltier sort of flavours. Yeah. And it's balanced against it so nicely, like they say. You're getting, let's go for one final taste and give you plenty of notes and aromas and tastes. Initially, like a bit of a spritziness. It's almost like a rye note. I don't think it is rye. I think it's a general kind of like malty toffee caramel breadiness. It's quite crisp and quite clean. There is that little mosaic-y, bubblegummy sort of note. Bit of grapefruit. A little bit of orange. Yeah, and then opens up into, that orange comes in, it opens up into more kind of grapefruity sort of notes, and then it goes quite dry, quite crisp, and bready again. Oh, it's really nice. All the way through, there is a pretty decent hit of alcohol all the way through. It is nicely warming, mildly boozy, I'd say mildly, but it's a proper old school Westy. Proper old school Westy. None of this fucking, hybrid shit that you get nowadays. I say hybrid shit. I appreciate it. I like it, but that's a proper Westy. That's a proper dipper Westy. Dipper. Bloody good. Fat Lizard, Splitty Westy. That's fantastic. That's really, really, really decent. I've found this down the years is that UK doesn't seem to remember what a West Coast is. You very rarely get a solid, West Coast IPA. You go abroad, and where everything's a little bit different. I remember this even in Hong Kong all those years back. Is you were able to pick up a decent Westy, and this was after 2 or 3 years after, or maybe more than that, maybe 5 years after New England really took off in the UK, you were still able to get a really solid Westy. And in the UK, it's hit and miss. Really is hit and miss. That is a cracking example. But when you go abroad, I think you can find it a little bit more easily because, okay, they might be ones really focused on New England IPAs and that sort of thing, but I don't think they've kind of got as, drummed down or, bogged down by it sort of thing. So, yeah, that's cracking. Fat Lizard, Splitty Westy. Cracking. Cheers, Jimmy. See you next one. Cheers.